like that. Woo! What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull-Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, a.k.a. B Jizzle.
Hey, and you already know who it is. It's your co-host that does it the most is Rick Masters at Rick Masters 23 or Rick Masters everywhere else. Hey, people, you already know what time it is. The Pull-Up Basketball Podcast shirts. We got the red, the white, the black, the hoodies, the sweaters. Look, 30 between $35 and $40, man, depending on what you order. Hit up me or BJ's on our DMs. You see the Cash App drop, the $ BJ Matthews, or you could tag us inside of YouTube since we affiliated with them, man. Leave a contribution if you would like. So we give you so BJ can keep producing this good content, man, and we keep bringing it to you. But AB Jizzle, let's go.
Like my man said, go and get our merchandise, $30 for shirts, $35 for long sleeves, you know what I'm saying? If you'd like to donate to the Pull-Up Basketball Podcast, show your love. Cash App, $ BJ Matthews. Like my boy said, me and Rick continue to produce this great content. We've been definitely growing, you know what I'm saying? The subscribers have been growing, views, all that. We're gonna keep the ball rolling, keep giving y'all this great content. But nonetheless, let's get it rolling, let's get it popping. Rick, we got another good topic for us for our audience today, man. And before you guys even enter, hit that like button, man. We should be getting likes. At least over 30 likes today. I like the energy that we had yesterday, but today we're going to bring it even more. Round two, Ben Simmons and Klay Thompson, man, two former All-Stars, two players in the league that were very, very highly impactful, have been getting a lot of, I wouldn't say really backlash, but really just a lot of questioning over the last couple of seasons. Look at Klay Thompson. He's come back from two major injuries with the Achilles and the ACL tears. Two major injuries cost him like 2.5 seasons. And then you look at Ben Simmons, who's been dealing not just with injuries with his back, but also the mental state of mind. When he was, against the Philadelphia 76ers, we all remember what happened. And since then, he's kind of been like on a downslope. But I think this is a good time to talk about these two, man. What is your opening thoughts about Ben Simmons and Klay Thompson? First of all, how do you feel about them as players before the injury started? Let me hear it.
Okay, so Ben Simmons before the injury started, before everything fell to hell, I would say. Now, we know that Ben Simmons, 6'10", 6'11", 240 pounds, man, plays for the Nets now. Used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. And so when you compare and contrast Ben Simmons from the Sixers up to the Nets, like I said, he hasn't been with the Nets too long. He actually started playing this season. Everybody already knows that Ben Simmons, didn't have such a great time especially that last year in the playoff with the 76ers, because the jokes and all the memes start coming around that he cannot shoot, right? But what made him such a phenom, at the time when he was being talked about is his defense and how he is a huge guard that can literally make a game-changing, he's a catalyst for the team when it comes to you being a huge guard on a defensive perimeter. So I think that's what a lot of people remember him as. And of course, his passing, his IQ, things of that nature is what, all around makes him a great player. But the real question is what happened between then and now? Okay, so let's keep things in perspective. We know that, like I said, that last year he got a lot of criticism. I'm talking about from commentators all the way down to fans. When you pass the ball on an open dunk or a layup, when you could have clearly just dunked it or laid it up and you pass it, and by the way, make a bad pass, not a good pass, not a smart pass, but you make a bad pass, it makes people question, mentally, are you really checked in? Because the average person that even watches the sport of basketball understands, man, just go in there and boom that. You 6'11", go in there and lay that up. Like, why are you passing up? Why are you not shooting? So all these questions start coming out. And then to defend Ben Simmons a little bit, I think that he kind of, I think it's childish, but I think he had more of a mindset where it was like, you know what, y'all gonna keep messing with me, fine. And he kind of put on this standoffish type of energy where it's like, if y'all gonna keep talking about me, y'all gonna keep clowning me, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously things were going on between him and other teammates while he was there and with the Philadelphia 76ers. So I know that plays a role. But I think a lot of his issues, BJ, comes from, his mental state of mind and how he pretty much wants to carry it out. But despite all these accusations and assumptions, right, let's look at the facts here. The facts is that the brother is literally, he dropped dramatically. And what I mean by that is when we look at the stats, and BJ got it pulled up for you, and I'm also looking off of ESPN right now. It looks like if you compare just from the 2017 season up till now, what he's playing now with the Brooklyn Nets, let's see, he averaged 33.7 minutes, right? When he in 2017, 2018, of course, he was the star player back then. One of these star players with Embiid. And then in 2023, 2022 season, the brother is averaging 28.8 minutes. So a little bit less time. So that's the first thing I want to look at. Salute, Alex. That's the first thing I want to look at. Okay, you have lesser time. Lesser time means you have lesser time to actually perform and do more within a game. So let's keep that in perspective. Secondly, he said he's been having back problems. Okay, now one thing I would never attack a player on, I don't care who you are, what caliber of player you are. I cannot, teach or talk on injuries. However, something's affecting your body, I can't tell, only you can tell. Right. So if you don't feel 100% within yourself, then obviously your gameplay is going to show that as well. So I'm definitely taking that into account. Now, here's another thing where I'm going to defend Ben Simmons a little bit. Are they playing him correctly? Okay. Because when we look at Klay Thompson, we already understand from looking at 2017 season up till now that the Warriors clearly have a system. Steve Kerr and those Warrior team players, they have a system, meaning that no matter who comes and who goes, and I think KD was a good representative of that, no matter who comes on the team, they have a system to where everybody can touch the ball, everybody can score. And of course, if they're going to make you their main point or controller of the team far as scoring, they can do that within a system. And they have so many options, right? Especially when you have the whole team there. And like I said, looking at the 17 and Dallas Sports said defending. I'm defending Ben Simmons, Dallas Sports, based off the fact that, I want to put salute, that I want to put everything in perspective before I start really criticizing, right? I think there's a good thing to always put person in the fairness of a certain type of light before you start tagging and tearing down things that they can do better. Because at the end of the day, if we look at Kobe Bryant in some of his seasons, he may not have done so good, but then you got to ask yourself, why? Why is it that he hit 35 one season, then the next season he's hitting 28? But then when you really look into it, maybe that finger was broke. Maybe his Achilles was giving him problems. Maybe he was fighting with one of the people on the team, so he was trying to prove a point. So I like to actually keep context when certain things happen. And in Ben Simmons' case, I think we can all safely agree that the brother got attacked pretty bad. Regardless if you like him or not, whether you think he's a great player or not, they came after Ben Simmons. Like, they were on his ass. And I just feel that the way he took it, instead of like certain players, and I call out certain names, like let's use Kobe Bryant. When you come at Kobe Bryant, he naturally challenges it, right? He'll hear something, he'll read something, he'll hear what somebody said. Grand Rising, Miss Davis. He'll hear what someone said, and then he actually makes it a challenging thing in his own mind and goes after it. Ben Simmons, his reaction, in my opinion, was like, whatever. He just shrugged his shoulders. It's almost like even when they put the camera on him, if you look at his face, it's like he had no concerns or no worries. Like, it is what it is. And I feel like that's where he kind of hurts himself. And I'm going to bring up another player to kind of compare and contrast that's still alive today, Russell Westbrook. We've been saying for the longest that Russell Westbrook hasn't changed. He's been playing ball the same way he's been playing ball since OKC. But the way they positioned him on the Lakers was starting to kind of hurt him a little bit. So then when they found out that he plays better coming off the bench, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's doing so much better. No, he's been doing what he's been doing. It's just that y'all are now playing him in such a way to where he can blossom and do what he normally does. And sometimes I wonder, if they play Ben Simmons the same way, are they trying to find a way to implement him within that Brooklyn system? Here's the thing, though. Does Brooklyn even have a system? Because BJ, like I was telling you before, when I watch the Brooklyn Nets play, it almost feels like it's just a recreational game. It's just they bring the ball up. It's freestyle basketball. Thank you, Tate. Salute to Tate for the 1999. You know what I'm saying? Love. We appreciate that. So it makes me wonder when I look at and compare and contrast other players who are coming off, criticism, or, they're like the meme kings right now where everybody's making fun of them. What's really going on at that point in time? And I do question Do they play Ben Simmons the correct way? Now that I've said all of that, let's get into the criticisms, BJ. So we understand that he played more minutes and everything with Philadelphia. He was more of the, one of the top hierarchy guys like Embiid, right? But here's what I'm looking at. When I look at the 17 season all the way up till now, the brother has went from 15.8 points in 2017 to 9.3. Okay. 9.3. And I'm looking at this off of ESPN, fresh numbers right here. So my thing is, you go from a 6-point difference, right? Averaging. You go from a 6-point difference. Okay. Now, whether that's, like I said, your mindset on the criticism, whether that's because you don't shoot the ball, whether it's your back giving you problems, that is something to stare at. And matter of fact, his best season was in 2018, 2019, where he averaged 16.9 points. And then, of course, he goes from 16.4 in 2020, 2021, he goes to 14.3, and then a drastic drop to this year of 9.3. Okay. So then we look at the, let's see, what else? We look at the assist. His best year was 17, 8.2. He averaged, and now he's only doing 5.9. So numbers do tell a story, but at the same time, it makes you wonder, how did they play him in Philly? What was his role? And then how are they playing him in Brooklyn? And what is his role now? And to be honest with you, I even personally feel that Philly had a better system at the time than what he's going through right now in Brooklyn. So to kind of end it with Ben Simmons before I jump to Klay, I just think it's half and half with him. With on one half, it's him, it's mental, right? Like whatever he's telling himself or whatever he's thinking, if he's trying to fight the crowd back, the media back, it's obviously showing. It shows that he really has no concerns about that. It shows within his play. But then on top of that, when I look at him play, I also look at, it don't really seem like he's comfortable, or he's in a position how he was in Philly with him and Embiid, where they had a nicer chemistry and they had a nice system around those two, right? So I do look at that. But just looking at the numbers, I can see why people are calling him a wash. Now let's jump over to Klay Thompson
Let
real
me
fast.
get Ben Simmons. Yeah, let me get Ben Simmons real quick, and then we're gonna go to Klay, bro. So
Okay.
shout out to Mrs. Tate for the, the 1999 for sure, man. And also keep getting that like button. We got like over 10 people right now, man. So we have like over 10 likes right now on the video, so we can get more notifications out there. But yeah, bro, all great points about Ben Simmons, man. Listen, Ben Simmons was a former All-Star. Ben Simmons is a Rookie of the Year. Ben Simmons was a guy that was talked about in the same light as LeBron James. People forget, when Ben Simmons came into the league, he was the guy who was looked at as, being the face, the person that's going to take over, the person that's going to, be the next person in line. I think LeBron James said in a quote that you have a chance to be better than me. This is how they talked about Ben Simmons back in 2017 coming to the league. And, he's been pretty steady. He's a 4-time All-Star, or is he a 3 or 4 time? I think he's a 3-time All-Star within 5 seasons. And this has been his numbers, over the last 6 seasons. He's been into with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets. He's a all defensive team player. He's 6'10". He's 240 pounds. He has all the measurements to be a great player. But we all know that basketball is not just physical, it's mental as well. And he's not only been dealing with the back injury, he's not been dealing with other knickknacks. He's been dealing with the mental side of the game, and that can take a toll. When 2021 happened in the playoffs, where he passed the wide open layup in Game 7 against the Atlanta Hawks, people were stunned, people were in shock, including me, because I was watching that game live, and I was just like, what in the world's going on with Ben Simmons? And obviously he had a mental hurdle, mental demon in his head that he had to get over the last season. The coach called him out. Doc Rivers called him out. Bubba can probably appreciate this. Coach Doc Rivers called him out, and Joel Embiid called him out for his play. Did not, give him the type of support he felt he deserved after a performance that he had. And then the relationship went from Philadelphia, being, trust the process, to now there is no process. There's nothing left with the Sixers. So, but if you just look at his numbers, Ben Simmons, up until 2020 was always an effective player for that Philadelphia Sixers system. Based on what he did, he defended the best perimeter player, and he was a guy who was initiating the offense, and he would give you 15 points per game. You guys see this consistently. This was Ben Simmons averaging, damn near 15-10 every single season. That's stuff that people in the NBA history don't even do. Probably can name 10 guys who've done that as a point guard. And that's really with him not even reaching his peak. He's only 20, what is he, 25, 26?
26.
Yeah, he's not even at his peak yet. He's not even at his prime. He's averaging these type of numbers. So you can see the talent, you can see the promise on Ben Simmons. Now, it's crazy that we talking about is he washed right now, but mentally it's like he isn't all the way fully there. If we look at just the last few games, I can say this is the best stretch he's had since he's been back. Let's just look at what has happened the last 5 games for Ben Simmons. He played up against the Portland Trailblazers, Memphis Grizzlies, Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto Raptors, and the Indiana Pacers, which I think they went 1-4, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to everybody except Toronto and Memphis. Look at the numbers that Ben Simmons had those last 5 games. Was pretty efficient from the field. Had a nice little assist ratio, point assist ratio. Rebounds were there, and watching the game entirely, he seemed like he was very, very checked in. So I liked what I see from Ben Simmons the last 5 games, and this is the Ben Simmons that I feel like they traded for to get James Harden. So I'm not going to say Ben Simmons is washed. Now I'm going to say this: Ben Simmons is not what he was for whatever reason. Could he get back to that? I think he can, but it's just going to take some time mentally to get him there because he didn't really sustain no major injury. So physically, he's not incapable of doing it. It's just the mental side. Let's skip this Klay Thompson, bro. Unless you got something else you want to talk about Ben Simmons.
I mean, the kind of ended with Ben Simmons. Let me see. So I had it pulled up here. Let me go back to it.
What up, Oaktown? What up, Pagan 180? Make sure y'all hit that like button, y'all. Y'all come in here, hit that like button. Shout out with 10 likes right now.
So Ben Simmons, 3-time All-Star, 2019-2020 Steal Champ, 2019-2020 All-NBA, 2017-2018 All-Rookie, Rookie of the Year, and 2017-2018 2-time All-Defensive Player. So like I said, we really know him. Salute Pagan, salute Oaktown. So we really remember him as far as his defense. And like you said, even looking at his stats this year, it looks like he still can perform what he used to do back in the day. And so again, that just makes me question, as a person that watches the game, do the Brooklyn Nets really use him at the most effective and efficient way? Because again, at least in Philadelphia, even though he was the guy and Embiid was the guy, there was some type of system, there was some type of chemistry between those two. You had to worry about those two, within their system there. But then when you bring them over to the Brooklyn Nets, obviously it's more of a free-for-all. Of course, KD and Kyrie being the main options, but if it feels like I'm at the rec and I'm just letting these guys do what they do instead of actually playing a triangle or some set of, like Greg Popovich, where there's a system, even when the stars are not in, the system still runs, right? Like I don't see that in Brooklyn. So sometimes that makes me wonder, does that affect him, even though he still can push out numbers that he used to do within a certain type of system? So that makes me question, can they get a little bit more out of him if they actually sat down and strategized what they can use him for the, most effectively and efficiently for? So that's all I say on Ben Simmons. Now jumping to Klay Thompson here. Klay Thompson, now obviously we already talked about this. I don't think Klay Thompson is a wash. I just think Klay Thompson is just trying to find his new way after what he's been through, right? So we know that he had some injuries, okay? We know that Achilles, we know that ACL gave him a problem, right? So you think sitting out that long, not really able to play NBA games, that's going to have an effect on you. And then he's older, because I believe he's 32. He was born in February 1990, so a little bit older than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons being 26, most people will, kind of cross-reference that to, they're being in their prime. But in this case, we would say he's a little bit over his prime, being at 32, plus dealing with the injuries that he dealt with. Yet, the brother still will drop 41 points like he did. Now, what team was that? I think that was the Suns, or was it Houston? There was Houston. Yeah. He dropped 41 points, and then free throws 75%. Then 3-point percentage 76.9, field goal percentage 60.9%. I mean, look, man, he's still there. He still can attribute and be an asset to the Warriors team. But did he slow down due to the injuries? Is it because of age and things like that? Of course. I think that does play a big role in him taking a step back in a sense. But far as him being effective, is he a wash? Not at all. I think he still accumulates. I think he's still an asset. I think he's still a working piece for the Warriors within their system. And like I said, when he played against the Houston Rockets and I saw the brother drop 41, that's not a small feat, especially coming off of what he just came off of. So is he still capable of doing what he did? Of course. Is it a bit streaky now? Absolutely. Well, can he do that? In my opinion, can he do that on a consistent basis? Can he do that night in and night out? I don't think he can. And I think I'm going to point at the fact that he's a little bit older, the fact that he's fighting against tough injuries that most people don't come back from. Like I said, the numbers are very impressive based off of what he just been through. And let's not forget, he's a 4-time champion. So my whole thing is that he has caliber, he has pedigree with this team. So even though he's not necessarily his younger self, his prime self, he still has enough experience and wisdom to be very effective for even new guys that join the team, and can also be a mentor for newer people who come on the team. And he still actually can show them in action while he's playing how to be effective within his position when he's teaching a newer guy that's on the team. So he's definitely an asset. I don't see him as a wash. But go ahead, B Jizzle.
Sir, all great points, Mr. Tay. Smash the like button as you enter. Yes, sir. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let's look at some of these comments. Klay Thompson is a dog. Yes, he is a dog, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Joanne DeSere said it's all on coaching and referring to Ben Simmons. Pretty much what you were saying, Rick, that they gotta make sure they have the right system around Ben Simmons. And I felt like as if since they had a Kevin Durant, if they had a Kyrie Irving, that was gonna be easier for Ben Simmons to do what he does, which is assist and play defense, right? So that's what I felt was going to happen. But you're absolutely right. They need a system around Ben Simmons to be successful. But next to Klay Thompson, man, if we look at the last 5 games of Klay Thompson, look at what he's done. Look at the game against the Houston Rockets. The New York Knicks, the Houston Rockets, the Clippers, and the Jazz. All been, efficient. All been, great. All been, playing with a lot of energy. It started off with that 41-point game against the Rockets in Houston, which they won. He went 14 for 23. And I think he had, 9 threes that game. And watching that game live myself, I remember just him being aggressive, catching the ball. Is Klay Thompson the same guy on the defensive end of the ball? No. Because injuries like the Achilles and the ACL will keep you from moving laterally the way that you did prior. The push-off is not the same. The side-to-side lateral movements aren't the same. You don't fully trust that lower body to, be what it was. And plus these athletes are so, crazy. It's hard to stay in front of them. Now, yes, Klay Thompson had that part of his game that's, probably went down, but he can still shoot the ball. And you can be 40 years old and still be able to shoot. And he still has a system with Golden State where he's coming off screens where, guys like Draymond and guys like Kevin Looney, guys like, even Steph, will set screens for him. We'll give him the ball where he likes to get the ball. So he's going to be comfortable, and they're going to give him the green light to do what he does. So really, I look at Klay Thompson is that he has a large margin for error. Let's start there. He has a large margin of error. He has a green light on that team. So even if he has a few, off nights, they're still going to feed him. And that's very important because that actually contributes to how confident a player can be from here on out. Because a lot of times, if you deal with a player who, is on a, cold streak or in a slump, they say they may get iced out of the offense, and that makes their confidence go lower. I don't see Klay Thompson doing that. I see Klay Thompson very, very secure and very confident who he is. I think it's a matter of time before he gets his rhythm. We're seeing it right now, how he's shooting the ball. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Charles Barkley came out and said that he felt Klay Thompson is older. So he kind of started, I think, the fire for Klay Thompson, come back when he, is able to come back from. Like Pagan 180 said, Klay is fighting age as well. Yeah. He's fighting age, but also what he's doing, he's also able to shoot. If you're able to shoot the ball, and Rick can, contest to this, you can shoot the ball to you, 50 years old. If that's all you can do. So it's like, at the end of the day, they're not losing that part. I was watching him against my Clippers the other night, and I'm like, damn, he looks good, him releasing the shot. So if I get a Klay Thompson like that, who's able to light you up from three like that, it's a problem because now here comes Steph Curry, here comes Andrew Wiggins, here comes Jordan Poole off the bench, here comes X, Y, and Z. Offensively, Golden State has no issues. It's the defensive side. So when we talk about Klay Thompson, we're talking about strictly offense, and I think reality. I mean, he really ain't even washed. He's just him finding his rhythm back. So I think it's only a matter of time to basically, what I'm saying, like him just, becoming into his own. Oaktown A said Klay was being selfish to prove a point since he got talked to, he has played better. Yeah. Like you said, Rick, there's certain players that when you talk to them, it gives them a rise. It gives them a confidence booster like, oh, they don't forgot who I am. They forgot that I was that two-way best best guard in the league. They forgot that I can still light this thing up with Steph Curry. They forget I'm a splash brother. They forgot all that. So now I have the opportunity to show people what I can really do. And I think with the system Golden State has, it's still going to be a situation where he's not going to look washed. Can he do what he do consistently? Probably not, but I don't think they needed him to do it every single night. I think that's just more of an option for them. But that's all I gotta say about Klay. What else do you have to say with those comments?
Having this conversation about Klay and Ben, it makes me think about Westbrook so much. And one attribute that I appreciate about Westbrook was getting attacked left and right. In some instances, fair enough. You know what I mean? When it came to his gameplay and when it came to his stats line, fair enough on his criticism. It's like, what the hell is going on, Westbrook? What are you doing? What's going on? But on the flip side of that, I like how Westbrook always stayed calm, right? He always was like, hey, I had a good night, even though he didn't have a good night mentally. And this is what I mean by mental. Mentally, he didn't check himself out, right? He could have, especially with that LA crowd, he could have easily just checked out, curled up into a fetal position and said, forget all this. But no, Westbrook kept playing. And then, of course, Darvin Ham found a little thing that worked for him. And now he's effective again, right? I'm not saying they're going to win a championship, but he's definitely more effective than what he was than when he started in the season, when they found out that, hey, he plays a lot better coming off the bench. And I feel like Ben Simmons is showing us a little bit of the same thing, the only difference, because he's still putting up the numbers, right? So that goes to show that he still can do what he normally does. But unlike Westbrook, two things are hitting him. Westbrook, I feel like, was mentally stronger in that department. And then two, I feel like the coach on the Nets is not like Darvin Ham on the Lakers is not trying to find a way to use Ben Simmons as effective as Darvin Ham is using with Westbrook. Because again, when you're looking at the stats of Ben Simmons, it goes to show that he still can do what he's been doing. But the problem is, it's almost like it's empty stats. It's like, yeah, he's still getting almost 10 points and he's still getting these assists, but they're not accounting for anything because of how he's being played. Instead of when he was playing with the 76ers and they're getting to the playoffs, it seemed like those same stats were more effective, which then would make you question, is he being played his most effective way? Because if you can compare when he was on two different teams, see that he's putting up the same numbers, then it's like, okay, these numbers were more effective over here, but these numbers are not as effective over here. So then that's going to make you question, how are they playing him? And then on top of that, of course, he has to take a little bit of accountability. How is he mentally? How is he coming at the game? Like Westbrook getting attacked, Westbrook becoming the mean king, Westbrook going through all these things. But once Darvin Ham found out that Westbrook plays just like he did in OKC, when he comes off the bench, then all of a sudden it's like nothing ever happened. It's like, man, Westbrook been playing like that. It's just that the way he was being played made him look like he couldn't play no ball when he's been playing the exact same way the whole time. So I think I'm defending Ben a little bit. I'm not trying to, when he plays bad, he plays bad. But I'm saying, when I can look at two different stat lines, when he was on two different teams and they're not that far off from each other, it's only going to make me scratch my head and wonder, are we really using this player to the best of our effectiveness for this team? But then again, when you compare Darvin Ham, and I don't know if Steve Nash is still there or not. I don't know if they got rid of him yet. But if you compare it, then you look at it like, okay, brother's still playing like this, but it's empty now. So are we using him with KD and the Kyrie combination? Are we using him to the best of his abilities? Because people forget Ben Simmons was a star with Philly, so now he's relegated to being almost like just a role or side player. So you got to think what that does to a person mentally as well. Okay, coming into a new environment. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, if you want to look at stat lines and say he fell off, that's fair because it would appear that way. But if you really look at the game like me and BJ look at each game and look at what these players are doing, it's like, well, shoot, the brother's still playing like he was playing in Philly. It's just that, are they playing the same way he did in Philly? Are they revolving the system around him? Is he the main guy? Or are they just treating him like a side player? Are they just treating him like Claxton and Harris, where he just comes off the bench and does his thing? Are they really implementing him and his abilities within the team system if they even have one? So that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Oh, good points, man. And like you said, man, and let's go through some of these comments. Let's see. Let's look at what Pagan 180 said. I wanted to go back to this comment. He said, sum this up as something called ego. And I'm guessing he's talking about Klay Thompson. Well, yes, ego, most of those NBA players have egos. Most of them have that confidence where they have to be like, okay, well, I have to be in this type of zone for me to survive in this league. If you don't have no confidence, you're not going to survive. You can have all the talent in the world. That's what we saw with Ben Simmons. You're not going to survive in the league. And with Klay Thompson having 4 rings, Klay Thompson being one of the best two-way players at one time, Klay Thompson, what all he did with the Warriors organization, I think it's safe to say he deserves to have that ego. Let him shoot as many shots as he wants to shoot to get back in the game. If we have a Klay Thompson that can, give me 20 points, that's all going to help us. So if it means he has to have a little bit of, a swagger, a little bit of ego, okay, I'm cool with Klay Thompson doing that because he's earned that type of title. He's earned that right by what he's done in this league and what he's done for the organization. So no problem with having, that type of ego. If you look at some of these other comments, he said, maybe you can answer this question, Rick. He said, what is Klay's ceiling at 32, given the season's small sample size so far? What do you think Klay Thompson's ceiling is? Do you see him getting back to full Klay Thompson, 90%, 80%? What do you see?
I mean, to be honest, I don't think Klay will ever be what he used to be, and that's simply because of injury and age. I mean, that's on any level of life. Like even within myself, I will never be what I was at 20 or 21, where I could jump and look inside of the basketball rim. It's just not gonna happen. No matter how much in shape I get, how many pounds I lose, age does play a big role. I don't have the bunny legs I used to have at 21 as I do at 31. It's just a 10-year difference, right? But am I still effective even in older age? Yes, I still can shoot. I still know how to angle the floor. I still know how to get other people open. Because of the experience I have in the game, I still can be effective just in a different way. Let me break down using this reference. Let's think of Michael Jordan. Now, everybody, and this is something everybody can agree on, Michael Jordan was a high flyer dunker when he won those first 3 championships. Okay, he was an aggressor. This dude will fly at anybody, dunk on anything, go through anybody to get to the rim. But what happened when he retired and came back? He wasn't a high flyer. He still could dunk, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't a high flyer like he was in the early 90s. Then when he came back, what was he doing? More fadeaways, more pull-up shots. Okay, so he had to adjust his game because of his age. He wasn't the 91 Jordan in 98. 91 Jordan had bunnies. 98, he had bunnies, but they wasn't the bunnies back in 91 against Magic Johnson. Okay, so a big difference in age. It plays a big role, right? But he found a way to still be effective within that Bull system. Very effective. And so when it comes to Klay Thompson, it's the same thing. Yeah, you may not have the Klay Thompson that was young and that can run around and get through screens super fast and bust through people because his legs were still healthy before he hurt his ACL and his Achilles, and he can turn and he can switch fast and come off a screen super and cut and slice you down. He can't do that no more, right? He's coming off an injury. He's an older player. But through his experience, can he still help side on defense? Can he still set up positions where he can somewhat form a double team because he has all this knowledge of being deep into the playoff runs? Can he still be effective by using his experience? Of course. But would he ever be the young Klay? Not at all, because age does play a role and injuries definitely play a role. But he's still effective in that system. Yes.
Man, all great points. Bruce, what's good, my guy? How you doing?
Good morning, guys. I hope you
Good
guys
morning.
are well.
Salute.
I mean, you guys pretty much say everything. Ben Simmons, there's good and there's bad. I think he's the only player I see on the Nets that's really trying to play defense.
Mm.
And when he's not on the floor, I think that's when the Nets start losing the game, because when he's on the floor, the Nets are winning because he's the best defender on the team. And I don't think Ben Simmons can play with Kyrie. They cannot be on the same team. I think Ben Simmons is like a light-skinned Draymond Green. If he goes to the Warriors, he would dominate, man. He would have everything that he wants, shooters. Because when he was dominating with Philly, they had a lot of shooters already, like Redick, like Covington, all those players. I think my issue with Ben Simmons is he needs to be more aggressive, man. Sometimes he's wide open and he's still trying to look for Kyrie or KD or to pass the ball. But I think playing with Kevin Durant makes him more willing to take risks now, because KD was saying in his podcast that Ben Simmons give him a pass and he was wide open. And Kevin Durant did the same thing Ben Simmons did. He passed the ball to the other side. KD was wide open under the basket, right? And then Ben Simmons told him, shoot the effing ball, right? So, and KD said, "Oh, I appreciate that." Ben Simmons did a lot for the team, man. I think he's the best defender and he's doing everything. But my issue with him is he needs to be more aggressive. Shoot the ball, shoot the mid range. If you don't want to shoot the three, shoot the mid range, because they back off of him, and then he can do that. The issue with Klay Thompson is he was shocking too much at the beginning. He doesn't have the same legs, and the shot he could make before the injuries, he cannot make those shots anymore. So Klay Thompson was caught up in trying to prove to people that he's still the same player. You're not the same player, and Rick said it. You're not the same player. You're getting older, and you had 2 injuries. You're not the same player, because I've seen so many times guys just walk by him. Guys he could stop. Like, that's why he was frustrated with Devin Booker, because he used to shut down Devin Booker. Now Devin Booker is like cooking him.
Well, you go ahead, Rick. You go ahead and respond.
I kind of want to jump on what Joanne is saying in the chats here, referencing what Bruce is saying. So she's saying, Bruce, you're wrong. Ben not only playing defense, Yuta also. So this is what I'm going to say. I don't think Bruce is basically saying like nobody tries to play defense. I think what Bruce is basically saying is when Ben Simmons is out there, he sees a difference in the chemistry and the aura of the defensive side for the entire team. So basically, it seems like Ben Simmons brings this type of caliber, like energy, to where it makes people be more in tune on the defensive end, which is very possible, right? And I see what Bruce is saying, because I've seen games like that. It's like certain players get on the court and you have to play defense when they're out there. It's kind of like if I'm playing ball with you, the only thing I care about when I'm on the court with you is play defense. I don't care if you miss 100 shots, play defense. The reason why I'm so pressured on defense is because if we not scoring, at least they not scoring either. You see what I'm saying? So some players, some individuals, including myself, we have a very narrow mind on certain aspects of the game, because what I look at is even if my shot's not falling, I'm going to play tough enough defense to where you're not scoring, and I just bring it in closer. I start hitting layups. I start bodying you down low. But we're going to score. It's just that we can't allow them to score too while we're trying to figure out how we're going to score. So I'm one of those people where when I step on the court and you will hear me saying, BJ, you play with me. Come on, y'all, let's play D. Let's play defense. I'm going to be that one guy screaming at everybody, because I already understand if we play D collectively, even if our shots aren't dropping right now, once we start heating up, at least they're not scoring. So I think what Bruce is trying to say is when Ben gets on the floor, he brings that type of energy where it's like, we got to play D. Like Ben's going to play D at the top. So I need to help him out back here on the backside off the key or off the block. It brings more of a competitive nature when certain people hit the floor. So I don't think that Bruce is basically saying that nobody else plays defense. I just think when he's saying when Ben leaves the floor, you don't have that person on the floor saying, yo, let's play D, where it gets you to start playing basketball. It gets you to start playing D on the defensive end. Like some people just have that, like Draymond. Yeah, he talks a lot. Yeah, he does a lot of things we don't like, but look at his energy. When he's on the court, he is talking to you. Now, he off the court, like I said, if he off the court, you probably can get away with some stuff, but when he on the court, he going to be in your face, in your ear. He going to be telling you how you could have did a play different. And I think that's what Bruce is saying. It's like certain people get on the court and it changes the atmosphere. And I do agree with Bruce because it makes sense. When I do see Ben get on the court and they start playing, they tend to play a little bit better. That is true. I do see that. But I don't think Bruce is necessarily saying that nobody plays defense when he's playing. I just think that Ben just tends to bring this type of aura where it's like, hey, when Ben's on the court, we know we got to play D. We got to help him out. He's taking care of us on the top key end of it. Let me help him back here on the bottom key. Or if the ball flies over here, let me make sure I'm on the backside to help Ben out. So it's like it just brings a different mind state when a certain player is on the court. But then when that person leaves the court, it's like you're not really focused on that because that player is not there. So in a weird sense, it's like indirect leadership. When a certain player shows up, I have to conduct myself a certain way. If anybody watched The Last Dance, listen to Michael Jordan. He's like, when you play with me, I expect so much from you. But see, when Michael was hurt or when Michael wasn't playing or when he wasn't on the court, the team started to kind of dwindle a little bit. But then it's like when he got back on the court, they like, shit, Mike back out here. We can't be bull crapping. And I feel like that's the kind of effect that Ben has on it. Probably not as tense as Michael Jordan. I'm not saying that, but that's the effect he has when he's on the court, and it does show throughout the team. I think, Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you're saying.
Yes. I think that is the mastermind of the defense for the Nets. And if you look, the Nets, they just need somebody else besides Ben Simmons who's gonna be the next mastermind, or somebody who's gonna direct like you what you just said. And I think I watched the Nets play, and they are in every game. But when Ben Simmons goes to the bench, it's like they play in defense, but they're not playing defense as hard when Ben Simmons is on the team. So the other teams know Ben Simmons is. Fans might think Ben Simmons is terrible. The other teams know Ben Simmons is good. Okay. The only issue, people care about shooting. That's why they look at stats, ball score, whatever. But Ben Simmons does a lot of things. The only issue that I have is the scoring. You wide open shoot.
All good points, you know what I'm saying? I want to bring out this quote, and I'm going to my point on what y'all just said. John Morant made a tweet the other day, and this kind of made me, want to do this topic. It says, Ben and Klay been hooping, everyone quiet now. So John obviously on Twitter saying that Ben Simmons and Klay Thompson have been doing well, and nobody's talking about it. So that kind of presumed this topic that we're doing today, because there's some truth to that. If you look at the last few games, they've been playing their best streak there since they've been back on the court, right? And you said something very interesting, Bruce. You said that he's like the light-skinned version of Draymond Green. That's what you said, right?
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
That's the way he plays for me.
That makes some sense, because now you look at Ben Simmons, he is 6'10". He is 245. He is 26 years old. What's stopping him from being what Draymond Green was for Golden State in his younger years and more for Brooklyn? It's because of the surrounding pieces around him. We know that Golden State has a system. We know Golden State has the coaching. We know Golden State has, two of the best shooters of all time. What's stopping this dude from doing the same thing for the Brooklyn Nets? And if I look at the statistics that he's had over the last few years, his points went down. That's the only thing that's really went down for Ben Simmons. And it's really just a lack of, like Bruce said, being aggressive. But what I also like about what's happening with the Brooklyn Nets, watching the games with my eyes, I'm starting to see Ben Simmons get more confident out there. There is a specific play where they played the Pacers where he had the ball at the top of the key. He crossed the ball over and then he drove to the basket and he bumped somebody that was guarding him and he got a layup in the and one. So you can see the confidence. Before, like earlier in the season, he wasn't even taking it to the basket. So I like to see little plays like that to show, okay, he's getting his confidence back. He's getting his mojo back. So it's little increments, baby steps to get back to what he was. So as long as he can continue that trend up, you can look at probably, somewhere, early next year or, in the playoffs this year where you see a Ben Simmons, okay, now he's what he was. Now, as far as Klay Thompson, he's not going to be what he was on the defensive end of the ball. That's what I think we have to understand. No matter how much he trains, no matter how much he's not going to get back to that side. He's got two major injuries like that. It affects your lateral quickness. But on the offensive side, shooting the basketball, I don't think Klay Thompson can be washed on that because shooting is not something that you just lose. Once you can shoot the ball, it's pretty much inside of you. It's something that you can always do. You can always rely back to shooting. So if you asking me just to be a shooter for the Warriors, if I'm Klay Thompson, I can give you 20, 25 points per game. Now, the only thing that's going to probably put them in a bad spot is if he starts taking shots that's going to take them out their offense. If he's going to start taking shots, that's going to make them have to work harder on the defensive end of the ball because Golden State is not the same defensive team they once were. So that's going to make more problems for Golden State. But I don't think Klay I still think he has a lot left in the tank. But it's just going to be like what Bruce said. How much is he willing to accept that he's not what he was? He's not the same player he was at that, 26, 27 years old. And could he accept that role of just kind of, being the person that, going to be not accepted around as the best two-way player? Is he going to still be, how is he going to be able to take that?
So, Klay is not the same player. I'm sorry. Klay is not the same player, but he has better defense than Jordan Poole, man. Jordan Poole, other teams are hunting for Jordan Poole when he's on the floor. And Jordan Poole only plays good at home. On the road, he never is there. His game stays at home.
Yeah. I noticed that too. No, well, yeah. How can I put it? Do you think Jordan Poole needs Klay Thompson to take a step back for him to, be the full version of himself? That's the main question.
If Klay Thompson has to play the role that he has now because he bailed out. People saying Klay Thompson is what has been played though. He has been bailing out the Warriors so many times. So many times other teams come back on the Warriors, and then Klay Thompson hits a big three, and then the team get going. So Jordan Poole issue is he's trying to be Steph Curry so early, and it took years for Steph Curry to be this Steph Curry. And Jordan Poole needs to be himself right now. Stop trying. He's trying to shoot the shot that Steph Curry takes.
Right. Let's look at some of these comments. Let's see. Big fan Breezy, welcome to the show, brother. Make sure y'all hit the like button when y'all come in and get the notifications out and get people coming in here. He says we need rebounding. Yeah. Brooklyn Nets don't really have much, meat inside, the center position. They don't have a lot of, bigs to, really, rebound the ball. What they can do is score the ball and shoot. That's what they're known for. I guess you guys have to pick up another big, but, y'all definitely need rebounding. But, Ben Simmons is a person that was supposed to help with that as well. On top of the defense. Another comment, he said, we cannot give Ben Simmons a pass for not attempting jump shots. Sorry, can't do that. I don't feel like it's not so much giving him I think I'm starting to see the aggressiveness on Ben Simmons looking to look for his jump shot, look to score, at least taking it to the basket, at least being a threat by attacking the rim. That's what I want to see from Ben Simmons. What y'all think about that comment?
I think Bruce and you are already saying it. Ben just needs to be more aggressive because look, again, just comparing another player here. Westbrook, we know is not a good jump shooter, But when he plays aggressive, that's all we care about, right? He's attacking the hoop, he's scoring. Like I said, nobody cares if you're hitting a three or if you're dunking the ball, as long as you're producing. Okay, like long as you're adding to the team, nobody's really going to give you a hard time. I think the reason why people are giving Ben a hard time is because, like Bruce said, when you're open, take the shot. Even if you miss it, take the shot. But not taking it, you are going to cause problems because then we clearly see that you don't want to shoot the ball, which is going to cause people to question you. Because, like I said, that was his problem before he left Philly. And that's kind of his problem now. And other people are noticing, why won't you just take the shot? Like Bruce said, you don't got to shoot the three. If you want to take a step in or even run in real fast and go for a layup, at least be more aggressive. And I think that's the biggest issue people are having with him. Because like Bruce said, I don't think nobody really questions the rest of his game. Like we don't really, we understand how good of a player he could be if he really tapped in and got aggressive. But I think because he doesn't shoot, or you see that he has the mind state of, even though I'm open, I'm still going to just sit here. I think that's what people are getting a little pissed off about. It's like, people like me and you, BJ, we know when to take shots. You wide open, take the shot. Whether you miss it or not, just shoot the ball. And I think when it comes to, because BJ, you said this, I think when it comes to why isn't it working for Ben Simmons, like, well, where's the system in Brooklyn? Because you kind of answered your own question. There's what system do they have, right? When I watch them play, it's literally just backyard basketball. It's like you throw the ball in, you dribble up the court, you play one-on-one, you shoot the ball. There's no like ball movement. There's no screens. There's no coming off a screen. If you compare the Warriors and the Nets, just really watch them when they have the ball in their hand and compare the two teams. That ball is constantly moving with the Warriors. They have a system going, and anybody can shoot if they're open. They have backdoor options. They have options coming off the screen. They have options on inbounds. They have all these options within a certain play. But it's like when you look at the Nets, you'll see KD come down, dribble, 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 pass, dribble, 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 pass. And it's like they're just looking for a one-on-one moment where it's like there's enough space between you and the opponent, and then you do a back down, turnaround, fadeaway, or you cut them, you cross them up and attack the hoop. It feels like recreational basketball when I'm watching the Nets. When I watch the Warriors, and this is why they're somewhat still effective, even though they don't even have bigs, because let's be very honest here, the Brooklyn Nets have taller people than the doggone Warriors. But the Warriors play more efficient because they have a system. Okay, so it's not like Ben Simmons being 6'10", you got Claxton down there just as damn big. You got KD at almost 7 feet tall. You got Blake Griffin, even though they don't play him like that, he's 6'10". You have some sizable guys on the Nets, but how are they playing? How do you play them? What is your system? Because I guarantee you, if you put the same system in the Brooklyn Nets and they have some type of ball movement, some type of option, some type of thing going, it'll be tougher to play that Brooklyn team. It'll be a lot tougher. Those guys are big. They're not little people, man. Them some big dudes. So it's like when I look at the Warriors and I look at how they play and how they move the ball around, and they don't even have bigs like that, and they still can be effective. But then you look at somebody who has bigs and they're just as agile and can play ball just as good. You can't shoot better than Steph, obviously, but you can play ball. It's just like, what do y'all got going on over there? What are y'all sets? What are y'all running? Because you can only go so far playing backyard basketball in the NBA. You got to be playing a sorry ass team.
I have a question for you guys. What do you guys think that in the offseason, the Warriors trade Wiseman and Kuminga for Ben Simmons?
Let me get to. That's actually a good.
That's a good
point. You guys hit the link, but if y'all want to come in here and speak, I know you got a few Nets fans in here, and keep hitting that like button, get the notifications out. We should have over 12 likes right now. That's actually not bad because listen, this is the thing. Kuminga is not playing the way I thought he was going to play going into this season. Now I don't know if that's because of what the Nets, the Warriors have him doing, how they're making him play, but I expected Kuminga to take that jump. Remember, people didn't trade for Kevin Durant, the Warriors, because they wanted Poole, Kuminga, Moody, and Wiggins to take that jump to help out Steph and Klay. But since if they're not going to do that, okay, well, why don't you bring in a more seasoned player like a Ben Simmons who can give you, like what Bruce said, just what Draymond Green gave you, and he's much younger, he's more athletic, He's taller, he's longer, and I think a guy like Steph and Klay, they're such good guys. They can somewhat uplift his confidence even more. Not to say that it's not trending that direction, but you go to a team with championship pedigree. I mean, you can't do nothing really but play better. Like, look at Andrew Wiggins. His whole career reamped just by hitting the Warriors.
This guy is shooting threes now, man.
Yeah, so it's like
Wiggins
that's
is
not a
shooting
bad
threes
trade at
really
all.
good.
Actually, I would take that trade if I'm Golden State. It's just if the Brooklyn Nets would take that trade, because I mean, how much does Draymond Green really help you as far as moving the needle? I'll take Kuminga because of his youth and his athleticism to help and his, what he can bring. But how much does Draymond Green really help the Brooklyn Nets?
Okay.
Well, Bruce or Rick.
I mean, I would say this because, of course, I see what Joanne is saying. You can't compare Nets, no coaching with the Warriors. And then I see what Pagan is saying. Ben wouldn't fit so seamlessly with Golden State. Here's what I do know is that, touching on both of those statements, I know that Golden State has a system. I do know that much. So doesn't matter who really comes over. I just feel like Golden State has a better chance and an opportunity of making people better than Brooklyn does. So would I have I guess a more positive thought about Ben going to the Warriors? Of course, because I understand that he's going somewhere where they actually have pedigree in a system, right? And they're going to use his best attributes as a player to their full effectiveness when you go play for the Warriors. So that's one thing I do know. So am I saying that he potentially would just go over there and just change the whole I mean, I really wouldn't know. We would have to see it. But one thing I do know for a fact is that if you go over there, they're going to play you the way they need to play you to better help the team in the long run. So I think that does help. Now, Joanne's right in the sense of, the coaching's obviously better. The system's obviously better. The chemistry is better. And I mean, when you really get down to it, Klay, Green, and Curry has been together forever, right? They're like three peas in a pod, right? So regardless of all the nonsense and the drama that we see in the league and the media, those three do have a strong brotherhood, right? So no matter if it's raining or sunshine outside, they're going to play Warrior basketball, right? And then, of course, when you have a coach, as long as they did winning championships with him, there's just a certain culture and aura there that you won't be able to break up. Even if everybody's in disagreement, they know how to win games. They've been in the worst situations, right, against the best players. So then when you bring somebody like a Ben Simmons or a KD or Westbrook or a Dame Lillard, it don't matter who you bring to a chemistry like that. They're going to find them a place within that system that's going to be most effective for the player themselves and also for the overall team. So I think when you have that type of chemistry and that type of culture, Ben Simmons probably would play better with the Warriors, right? But since that's not happening, I feel like where he's at now, that coach has to figure out how can we use Ben Simmons to be more effective in this team, and what are we doing as a team? Because like I said, when I watch Nets basketball, it looks like rec ball. There's no organization.
Here's why I said the trade. It's because a lot of players, they were considered bust or losers, like Wiggins, Maggie, Bogut. They go to the Warriors and then flourish. Nobody's making fun of Maggie anymore. Nobody is saying Wiggins is a bust anymore. He's shooting threes like he's Steph Curry now. So I know Ben Simmons will have to shoot because he's surrounded by shooters. So
correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Wiggins looked at as a guy that didn't have really lacked confidence and lacked energy? Wasn't he had those same labels before he went to Golden State?
Oh yeah, he was talked about.
So if I look at a Ben Simmons who, like, if we're saying what he's saying, Bruce is saying, like, he is trying on defense, I think you being around, like you said, Steph and Klay, two champions like that, I think his production would just automatically even go up more because you're in a championship culture. So you have no choice but to rise to that occasion. And I think if he plays, the only thing that Draymond would probably do a little bit better than Ben Simmons is like he knows the system better. So that's going to attest to how good is Ben Simmons' IQ. How fast can he pick up the offense? How fast can he pick up rotations? How fast can he do all that? That's the only question. Could he take Draymond's position?
All right. The system isn't that bad. Just give the ball to Steph Curry. Okay.
The Splash Brothers.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, how much time do you think Steph Curry got?
To be at this level or to be in the NBA?
Both.
Because I think he's gonna be a spot-up shooter at the end of his career. I think the dribbling going to the basket, that's gonna diminish. He hasn't done that a lot this year. I think probably he's saving his body or something. But I don't know. Maybe 2 years to be at this level, another 3 years in the NBA because he can shoot.
Yeah, I think Steph can play too. He's about 40. If that's my opinion, because I mean, like you say, just put him in the corner and shoot. Just that's all he would be, just a spot shooter. I mean, that's not taking a lot of energy, and he keeps himself in good shape. It seemed like so.
And he missed some years. He didn't play a lot of. He missed some years because of injuries.
That's true. So that would probably like actually allow him to play more because he don't have those miles on his body.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if he didn't miss some years, you could say that Steph Curry could be the leading scorer of all time.
Where's Steph right now on the list? Is he top?
He's like 40 something.
Okay, 40. Yeah. Let's look at some of these comments, and if anybody want to come in here, man, go hit the like button. We got about 5-10 minutes left. Let's see.
Wow, shooting mid range only. Okay, Joan. Okay.
Shooting mid range only. Nah, Steph is a 3-point sniper. That's what he is. That's what he's always gonna be. So, let me ask y'all this question right here: who would y'all take? Would y'all take Ben Simmons or Russell Westbrook?
In what situation?
Ooh.
Just okay. Ben Simmons at his best. Russell Westbrook right now at their best, because Russell's been looking good coming off that bench. And then you see Ben Simmons, here he comes, trending up. So right now, if you had a choice to put them, head to head, like if I'm making a trade, the Lakers and the Nets, Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, who wins that trade?
I'll take Ben Simmons over Westbrook.
Okay, why?
I mean, Westbrook is shooting, but it seems like he's not shooting because it's mostly break. So Ben Simmons is not shooting. It's like Westbrook shooting. So Ben Simmons give me the defense, better defense than Westbrook.
What about you, Rick? I know you're thinking kind of hard about it. That's kind of a double-edged sword because it depends what you get.
Yeah, the reason why I'm thinking about it hard. I mean, what Bruce said, it does make sense. It's the reason why I'm thinking about it so hard is because I'm thinking about their situations. Like the Lakers, they're good defensively, right? So a defensive player like Simmons, I mean, that also helps. It adds more to their defense. Now, as far as their offense output is where you will have a problem. But then it's like, okay, so we know Westbrook can score, but then it's like, will Ben Simmons be as aggressive as Westbrook on offense? So it's almost like which one do you prefer in a sense? Like it's tough, but I think if I was forced to pick one, I think I'm gonna roll with Ben Simmons just clearly because, like Bruce already stated, they both really can't shoot that efficiently. So I would rather go with a person that I know that at least on the defensive end is going to help me out somewhere in the aspect of the game because I can rely on somebody else to score for me.
Pagan 180 said he chooses Russ. He attempts his jump shots, and he said Simmons hammers your offense stagnant. I kind of somewhat agree and somewhat disagree because again, it just depends what type of system Ben is in because we've seen him average 15 points in a Philly system. We've seen him average, so he really. I'm not saying he can't take heat. I'm saying he'll eventually get to the point where he's starting to take shots. At this point, I believe that. You know what I'm saying? Oaktown said that Steph will never be a mid-range shooter. He'll get that 3 off. I agree. He said y'all niggas is tripping. I don't think we are. I don't think we tripping at all. Like if you 26 years old and I got a young athletic 26-year-old who's starting to come into his own. Why is that such a big? Why is that such a slight over Westbrook, who's 33, Asian, and now even a bench player?
Ben Simmons played with a skilled big man already, and Joel Embiid was doing great with Ben Simmons. He was getting the ball. Ben Simmons knows how to get the ball to a big man. I don't think Westbrook knows how. He gets the ball to AD, but not as good as Ben Simmons would. And I think Ben Simmons would fit better with LeBron and all the other shooters on the team. They would be so happy.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy at all. I think I'm still not giving up on Ben Simmons. I said Ben Simmons is going to be a help to the Brooklyn Nets. Now the record doesn't really revolve around that, but they got some other things they're trying to work out. Steve Nash leaving the team. Now it looks, they got another coach, and they don't play team defense. They just want to get up shots. And everybody has to commit to that side of the ball for them to, be better. But I think it's nothing bad about saying Ben Simmons over Westbrook.
I mean, and Russell Westbrook is he's bound to get the technical more than Ben Simmons. And all those gestures, rocking the baby, you're down 15 and you're rocking the baby. I don't get it, but okay.
Man, well, I think that's pretty much what we got for today's show. Any last comments y'all want to make, man? Bruce want to make before we end it, man?
I would like to see Ben Simmons on the Warriors. That's gonna give the Warriors more. Steph Curry is gonna extend Steph Curry success. I think Draymond is still good, but he's not as the same man. And with the punch thing going on, it's time to cut the cord, man. And Klay Thompson just need to play like he's playing now, pass the ball more, move the ball. Because before, at the beginning of the year, he was just getting the ball and look at the basket. He was not looking at teammates. That's why, and stop looking at comments online, because people were killing him online. People are killing Ben Simmons. I'm mostly Sixers fan. They're killing players online. So stop looking online for approval.
All right, Bruce, man. Always a pleasure having you on, man. Definitely good.
All right.
All right, we'll see you next live.
Okay.
All right, man. Man, that was Bruce has some good insight. That's probably the best insight Bruce has had pretty much since he's been around. He said Ben Simmons for Draymond, and I'm thinking about it. That's not too bad of a trade. And you take into account what the Warriors have dealt with Draymond. I think the court is kind of, ran its course. But what do you think about overall what Bruce said?
No, I think Bruce was right on the money. I mean, of course, you got Pagan 180. You got a couple people in here who's not feeling it, and that's okay because it's all subjective at the end of the day. But just kind of touching off what Bruce is saying, I see the angle he's coming at, right? So when you look at how Ben Simmons, because people they want to rag him so much on the shooting aspect, but let's not cut out what all other things that Ben does. Okay, Ben is 6'10. Ben is 200 plus pounds. He's a big figure on the court. He can move around. He can actually help you defensively. So when you think about how the Warriors are a smaller team, you see what I'm saying? You're talking about rebounds and orchestrating defensive set. I do see Ben Simmons being a little bit more effective than a Westbrook would be on that aspect. Now, do I expect him to just come there and just have like a shootout? Like, he's like, averaging 20 points and going 5 for 11 and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't really see that happening, right? Because that's more of a mental thing. That's more of an individual thing. But do I see him producing or at least helping the team more because of what he is and what he brings? I can't see that based within a system because, like I said, the Warriors have a system, right? So no matter who shows up there, they can place you somewhere to where you're very effective for them. It's a very smart team because for them to even be where they're at now, it's like for them not to have big pieces like, big centers, down below, they still be playing folks with big people. So that goes to show they have, systems and they have sets to play against teams when they don't have the same pieces as them. And you need that in the NBA. You need some type of counter attack when you're playing against somebody who has better pieces in certain areas, right? And that's what the Warriors have. They have that type of offensive mindset, the type of defensive mindset to actually coach through certain situations. I still have not seen that with the Nets. It's just give it to KD and pray to God he makes the shot. That's their offensive set. Give it to Kyrie and hope he can cross you up and get like a smooth, sexy layup. Like that's their offensive set. But when it comes to the Warriors, it's like you got to worry about Klay. You got to worry about Steph. You got to worry about Green. You can't leave him open underneath the basket. You got to worry about Poole. Basically, the system runs so well that you got to worry about every jersey out there at every given time. You can't just sit back and just, we'll let him shoot. No, you have to worry about every player in that system. Otherwise, it's an easy basket. So it's like, to me, with Brooklyn, all the team has to worry about is KD. That's it. It's like we shut down KD and harass him. We let what's his name, Kyrie hit 30 points. Just don't let KD hit 30, or let KD hit 30. Just don't let Kyrie hit 30. It's easier as an opposing team to come in and actually draw up a system to where all we got to do is stop this right here. We have a better chance of winning than when you play against a team like the Warriors and got to worry about their whole offensive playbook because they can always switch it up on you on the fly. So I just think, Ben Simmons will do a lot better with a team that has more to offer and that can use him in different ways than a team that's just telling you to come here and just be out there and run around and just play recreational basketball. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, and shout out to Bruce for saying, okay, you guys don't watch Ben Simmons. See, and this is what I had to bring the stats up at the beginning of the show, and I don't know if they saw them, but if you guys go look at Ben Simmons' stats, they're all ESPN from the last 6 years of his career. Now, again, this is Oaktown made a good point. Oaktown's a Golden State Warriors fan, so he's all Warriors. He said he's just worried about Ben's mentality. Now, that's what I was saying. Ben's mentality is the only question, but I'm starting to see increments, small sample sizes of his confidence coming back. Him driving to the basket more, being a little bit more effective on the defensive end, being more, taking a little bit more shots that he wouldn't take at the beginning of the season. His back is not what it was at, at the beginning of the season or last season. So he's getting more healthier. He's 26. To say he's already washed already does not make any sense. You don't get washed at 26 years old. You're not even in your prime. You're not even really learning basketball at 26 years old. To say he's already washed, bro, is just something that's just like, you're saying that only because it's all recency bias. All you do is remember what happened in the 2021 playoffs. Okay, everybody's had down moments. Everybody's had moments they're not proud of. That doesn't define everything that he's done well. You can't forget that he's a 4-time All-Star. You can't forget he's 6'10". You can't forget he's 245. You can't forget he can still run the point guard role effectively. Has a high point and assist ratio. All that was happening was he was just trying to get over a mental hurdle. Now, as far as him with the Warriors, Bruce said it. McGee and Wiggins had a mentality that were questionable too. Look at them now. Wiggins is looked at was one of the best players on the Warriors last year after Steph Curry, and JaVale McGee, to me, has revamped his career. So I don't think that you can define Ben Simmons off of one moment and say he's washed at this point. I'm not, and you can't say, oh, we got to cook Bruce for that. Bro, everybody comes in here has their opinion. And if we agree with it, or Rick agrees with it, if I agree with it, you know, cool. If we don't, then cool. But everybody can get their opinion off here. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that Draymond, other than really knowing the system at Golden State, he does better than what Ben Simmons would do. It has to matter how much does Ben Simmons pick up the offensive playbook for the Golden State Warriors and the defensive rotations. That's the only thing I would be worried about. But as far as the trade goes, that's not a crazy trade at all. But that's pretty much it, man. I'm not saying he's washed for it. He has got nothing. But you just said he was epic players. You just said he was washed, man. Let me pull up the comment. Hold on, let me pull up the comment. He said he was washed. I know I saw it. Ben is finished, and you need to cook Bruce ass for saying Ben Simmons could do the same thing Draymond could do. That's right. He just said Ben is finished. Come on, man. You got a comment section for a reason, big dog. Bruce, Rick, go and get your social media, get up out of here.
Yo, man, y'all already know what it is. It's your boy, the co-host, Rick Masters, at Rick Masters 23, the Pull-Up Basketball Podcast shirts, red, white, black. We got the tanks, we got the sweaters, the hoodies, $35, $40 a pop. Cash App, $BJ Matthews. You can definitely send in your orders to that Cash App. Just say, hey, I want this sweater, I want that, whatever. And BJ will get it going for you. Hit us up in our DMs at RickMasters23 or Mr. Lee on Instagram. Rick Masters everywhere else on social media platforms. You will find me, man. And thank you, me and BJ. Thank you for showing up, spending your time with us every Sunday. We really appreciate that. B Jizzle, back to you.
Like my man said, we definitely appreciate all the love and support that y'all giving us. Shout out to Miss Tay again for the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, the donation, $19. Definitely appreciate y'all giving y'all time, and you know what I'm saying, y'all love to the podcast. We definitely put a lot of time in this. Me and my boy Rick do a lot of work. We're steadily growing after going on 2 years. I think we've been doing it since 2020, December 2020. So we're coming up 2 years of the mark, and we're seeing the growth. But we're definitely on the same rise for next season or next year, man. And we're going to continue to need y'all support, y'all help to continue to grow the podcast. Everyone's welcome. You know what I'm saying? All basketball fans, all fans of different teams are welcome to say what they want to say and, you know, get what they got to get off. Man, this is y'all show as much as it's ours. But I want to also say this. Continue to like the page, man. Like and share and subscribe, because what that does is basically allows other people to kind of, and take for the super sticker, Miss Tay, again, the $5 super sticker. Subscribing and sharing and getting the word out, getting the podcast out, the likes out, all that good stuff, man. It gets notifications out to different people. So we definitely want to make sure y'all continue to do that, man. And we'll have some stuff for y'all, down the line to give back to, you guys, different prizes, cash prizes, things of that nature to give back to the podcast. But continue to support the Pull Up Basketball Podcast as we continue, move on. Respectfully say, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull out. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.